There.
This gets really frustrating. We only had like 18 minutes before we got hosed up.
Sunday is getting to be a bad day to do live streams, but I've watched lives during all the rest of the week too, and it's just getting really busy on YouTube.
Well, I'm kind of not surprised.
No.
I mean, with so many more people home.
Hi back, Josh.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for coming back. Just there's getting to be such demand for bandwidth anymore, which is, I keep hoping for optical cable, but it just ain't coming through.
Well, with all the people on here now, it's
Hey,
really
Celtic.
not surprised.
Lisa, thanks for coming back.
Welcome to both.
Oh,
of
we
you.
got 10 back already.
Got
Good
10,
deal.
yay.
Excellent. Okay.
Is Ellie back? Cultivate like.
Yeah, there you go. Cultivate that like button. Yeah, cultivate that like button.
Got 8 folks watching.
I'll have to go, Josh, to get to that channel. If I put in the search string, "you can't eat grass," would that find your group or your page?
That's one he moderates for.
Yeah.
There. I put it down and
So
on the
hopefully
list
we
of things
can-
to check out.
Hopefully we can stay on for a little while this time.
Yeah. If it
It's
starts
really-
streaming too bad, we may have to just shut her down. I hate doing it.
It gets really frustrating. It really does. It's just, as I always say, technology is great, except when it doesn't work.
Two Family did not seem to be having much problem when they're doing a live stream from a large conference in Hannibal, Missouri,
Yeah.
and they were staying on, but several people that were broadcasting live from the same site had trouble staying
Well,
on.
if anybody can get around problems, it's Daryl.
Yep.
That man is a pure genius.
Healing with cannabis.
Healing with cannabis. Yeah, I understand that. That's, I may have to go check that one out, Celtic. I can't do it, can't use it because I get tested all the time for my pain pump, which, by the way, I'm getting a refill on tomorrow. So that's good. That's good news.
Welcome back, Jason.
For those of you that don't know, and I think most of you do, I have a pain pump implanted in my back. And about every 4 months, I have to have it refilled with morphine. And so I have a pain specialist. And it seems like every time that I go into these people, they want me
Susanna, hi.
They want me to pee in the bottle and drug test me. 73 years old I am. What difference does it make? I really,
Big Pharma says so. That's what.
I despise the whole concept of the drug
Irene,
testing.
hello, welcome, Iron Firehorse.
Yeah, hi there. Because the only reason the doctors do it is because they've been forced into the position
CBDS
of being the drug police for the feds and for big pharma. And because of the way the laws are written, if a guy is just smoking a little weed and he goes to a pain doctor, he gets thrown out. What difference does it make?
Actually, guys, CBD in Texas does show, and they will throw you out if you get caught with it.
They seem to be relaxing the rules a little bit. In fact, even some of my old pain specialist actually was starting to embrace and sell CBD products. So I guess there are some that they're willing to accept, those that make them some money. But, maybe things are different in Pennsylvania, but here in Texas, the drug culture here, or the anti-drug culture here in Texas is just absolutely rabid.
And Ellie, you get tested here in Texas, no
for-
matter what you go in for.
for everything.
I have no chronic pain issues that have been diagnosed yet, and I get tested every time I go in.
Diabetic neuropathy is a rough road to hoe.
I do have that, or I have neuropathy. It's not diabetic. It was caused from my chemo.
Iron Horse, I've wondered about that. If I could ever get prescription for cannabis, but I don't think anybody would ever fly for it.
They do not allow prescription cannabis.
The
in
only ones that
Texas.
can get it here are those that have epilepsy. And I think there's one other
Are you
thing.
sure about that?
Yeah, if you can get a prescription, if you have epilepsy,
They
And
didn't
I
let me
th-
have
I
it when I was
think-
going through cancer.
no. And I think there is one form of glaucoma that they will allow cannabis to be used for. But I think that's it. Very, very strict rules here in Texas. That's very true, Iron Horse or Iron Fire Horse.
There are people, her name is Irene.
Irene.
There are
Okay.
people in the prison in Texas who will put there for one portion of one marijuana cigarette.
Yeah.
Not even an ounce, just
It's,
a little piece.
The majority of population in Texas prisons are there for soft drug violations, which is just really sick. Celtic, what are you doing? You selling crap here on our channel, huh?
No, he's just giving hints.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
It's all right if you want to sell on this channel.
50% off. Okay. Yeah,
I don't mind.
I don't either. Just giving you a hard time, big guy. Oh, yes, it does, Jason. That's very true. If ever, there are those law book thumpers that if I say that using marijuana is essentially a victimless crime, well, then they go back and they bring in all the distribution and the growing and everything else. But it certainly seems to be working in California. Certainly
And
seems to be
Arizona
working in
and several other
Colorado.
places.
And as I've long maintained, if they put the controls on it and tax it and govern it, just like they've done in California and Colorado,
In Arizona.
deficits would go by the wayside. It generates so much money. And one of these days they'll smarten up. And
If the federal government changes their laws, Texas then has to change their laws.
Joshua, you're right. It is just plain ridiculous. I don't know. Texas, being a republic, does not necessarily have to follow federal law. They can still make their own rules. Texas never technically gave up its status as a republic when it became a state. So Texas is one of the only state that can fly its flag at an equal height with the United States flag. And it is also the only state in which, if they don't want to follow federal law, they can make it a law of the republic and still enforce it.
Irene, it is
So-
like its own country, and it was its own country
Yeah,
for a
a
while.
long time. It still has that mindset in some cases. Yeah, it's a state within the union.
And it's a country within the state.
Yeah, and most Texans, me included, are quite proud of the fact that we do kind of sail our own ship. But unfortunately, there's a whole lot of stupid people at the helm. So what can you say?
Spoken by a good oarsman.
Well, I'd rather be
A good oarsman than a
I'd
screwed-up helmsman.
rather be an oarsman than
Yes.
one of the
Right,
dipshits
Jason.
running the show, because they do a really bad job sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
And it's really sad because it hurts a lot of people. Hurts a lot of people. But I told myself that I was not going to get on my high horse today about anything. So I am not going to go screaming and yelling. And
Joe Rogan is moving there to evade paying taxes.
Don't
What kind
know.
of taxes is he trying to evade?
I'll tell you what, Texas does not have a state income tax,
No.
but they do have some pretty high taxes on most everything else. I don't know what taxes he could avoid by coming here, other than income.
And my former husband evaded all taxes for the last 25 years of his life.
And you almost got nailed for all those too, didn't you?
Do what?
You almost got nailed for all of those
I
too.
did
didn't
get
you?
nailed for all of it after he died and I sold our house.
Yep. So
I had to go back and pay for all of the taxes that he missed.
yeah, they don't. The IRS will follow you to the grave and beyond, boy. They don't give up.
Yeah, the IRS has got to do something to make life miserable for the citizens of the country.
Well, there are two federal agencies that they should just go back to what they were in the beginning. Whenever they were created, the Internal Revenue Service was a fair and equitable agency. And it's the same is true for the Social Security Administration. Since their inception, they have both morphed into absolutely hideous semblances of what they should be.
Actually, there are some people who believe that the IRS is not legal
Yes,
because
yes.
when
They never got the final approval from the state.
that's right, they were lacking one
Yeah,
final
and
approval.
they never got it. They went ahead and slammed it through.
Yep.
So there are those folks, and of course now they tell them, no, that's
And
not true.
It
But
was originally set up only to tax federal employees, not the rest of the people in the union.
Yep.
So used to have big ranch property in
Oh,
Texas.
about big game,
sold
yeah.
because
That's another big issue here. They have a lot of places where you can go out and
get Willie for smoking weed, though.
and
No,
get,
they have not. Still have not gotten Willie for smoking weeds.
I think they kind of cut him some slack, because would you want to be the guy that arrested, that arrested Willie? I don't think so.
Actually, I have a funny story about that. When Willie still had his ranch here in Texas and was doing a lot of work out of his ranch, I owned a business in downtown Austin that repaired electronic equipment. And one of the things we repaired was high-end sound equipment. And when they would have parties and things at their house, we would end up going out the day afterwards and collecting whatever got thrown in the swimming pool, taking it back to the shop and fixing it. So Mr. Nelson was a good customer.
I would imagine. What's he, 89 now? Something like that?
Actually, I think he's a little older than that. I think he's the same age as my mom, 90 or 91.
Could be. Yep.
But Mr. Nelson was a friend of my family back when I was a little bitty infant. He knew my dad and mom, so.
Yeah, Celtic, I can understand that you got in trouble for putting your student loans on the wrong line.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Celtic said that he got whacked for putting his student loans on the wrong line on his taxes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live in
Hi,
California.
320.
Their tax structure is insane.
Where?
California.
Oh, California, everything's insane. It's the insane state.
Well, I lived there for several years. I lived
I'm
in,
sorry.
well, well, I lived in more or less all three regions.
No, Jason.
I lived in Long Beach for a while. Then I lived up in Central California around Merced when I was stationed at Castle Air Force Base. And then I lived in Sacramento for a couple of years. So I've lived in various areas of California. And as beautiful as it is just a whacked out state. It really is. And even more so now. I wasn't there. I left there in
Cali was a
1983.
Red state, and it was very well off.
Yeah, but it has gotten
Has it turned
extremely
blue yet?
strange, very strange. Yeah, that's true. In fact, here in Texas, there's a pretty good swell of opinion that go back. They're trying
Go back home.
they're trying to bring California here, and it ain't working. Texans just won't stand for that
Tim.
shit.
Hi,
Hey, Tim. Hi there. Yeah, well, California did not soak in, Tim. It did not. I disallowed that. I was very young when I was there. I did not let any of that stuff soak in. So I deny that I have absorbed any California. I have no California in my blood.
I was in Texas when I was 14 for 1 week. So I can say I've been there too, but not for long.
But I even though it was kind of a bad spell in my life, I enjoyed living in Sacramento. It's gorgeous country up there. Just gorgeous. Yeah, Jason, no, you would not have open carry, not in California.
But we do have it.
We do have it here.
Although you have to take a class and take a test and
Well,
pay fees and carry a license and all of
if
that.
you have an IQ of about 80, you can pass the test too. But
I don't know. I've not seen it. I don't know anything about what's on it.
I don't think the test is useful, but it's a formality.
Okay.
But at least they do cover the major.
Maybe I ought to go get
Components.
mine.
I've been thinking about it. I really, just
If I had something to carry, I might.
well, I've been thinking about just concealed weapon carry. That
Jason's still very safe in Texas. Safe from what?
safer in most respects. I mean, at least here, if somebody comes in your house and you kill them, you're probably not going to go to jail.
Especially if you're a woman
You know,
and they
and-
fall inside the house.
Yeah, and if they have a weapon on them, no problem. There's literally no questions.
I'm listening. I'm cleaning an area in my RV kitchen to get a pork loin cooking. I need a much bigger kitchen. Yeah, you need to move your kitchen outside, 320, unless you're in bad weather. Yeah, Celtic, it would send me home too. I like living where the ground stays where it is.
What'd you get busted for there, Tim?
Left to visit my home in California. It's quiet and peaceful, but you go 5 miles to LA, and my goodness, it's there. Yeah,
Yeah, there are segments of California that are just horrendous.
there are even pockets in LA that are nice, that are quiet.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
nice and all of
Yeah,
that.
there's some.
My friend Kay Kittrell, who has her own YouTube channel, lives in California, in Los Angeles.
Well, much of Los Angeles is very nice. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, I think they call it East LA. That's where a lot of and around that area, towns like Compton and places that are, kind of surrounding the Los Angeles area.
Okay.
That's where a lot of the really bad reputations come from.
Tim,
A lot of gang warfare, a lot of minorities that run neighborhoods, much like they do in New York and Chicago and Detroit, places like that.
Kay lives in LA, but used to live in I know. You see what Tim said about
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Bakersfield doesn't have a very good reputation either. Now, like Pacific Palisades, that's one of the areas around LA that's supposed to be pretty nice, and there's just a lot of good places out there too.
Yeah.
I don't put down LA as a whole. There are just segments of it that are much worse than others. I wouldn't want to live there in any part of it, but in California, period.
I just put down California on general principles,
Yeah.
It's kind of like I put down Alaska because they're the second largest state in the union.
I wonder if we have
They
any.
say they're the first, but if you melt down all the ice and snow, you'd find out they're second.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Come on, John, come back at me.
Reaching for that one. I wonder if we have any Californians in our
West Hollywood would be
viewership.
nice.
Yeah, West Hollywood wouldn't be bad. All those places. There's, like I said, there's a lot of really nice places in and around Los
State of the
Angeles.
Union.
But there are other places that, unless you've got a 50 caliber on top of your Hummer, it ain't safe to go there.
It's an interesting idea. I wonder what it'd be like to run through downtown Houston or downtown San Antonio in a Hummer with a 50 cal on the
People
top.
wave at you.
Probably.
Yeah. Hey, cool ride, man.
Or they'd want to take selfies with you.
Yeah, that would probably be, yeah.
Mhm. If
Yeah.
I'd known Kay's house was for sale, I would have bought it. And her house was so gorgeous, and her garden was a must for being. Yeah, it was beautiful, Josh. It was beautiful.
Yeah, earthquakes and forest fires. That's one of the other reasons I don't much like California, because
Right, Tim.
I've been through a couple of 5.0 earthquakes or so, and they ain't no fun. They're scary.
Like I
you
said,
know.
I like to live in a place where the ground stays where it belongs, under
Yeah,
my feet.
That is, a whole lot of things can happen to you,
Hmm.
but when the ground under your feet starts shaking,
Yeah,
it shakes you to your very core.
yeah.
You just,
The ground is not supposed to move.
yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to stay right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Except in movies.
Well, now in movies, it's, obligatory, but if I start seeing a big old crack
And
come
the
between,
fruits and nuts. Where
You
you
know.
shaking, babe? Celtic here in rare form today.
The thing I always cracks me up in movies, they start to see the earth cracking coming at them,
Hmm.
and they stand there and the crack goes between their feet. Man, I'd be on one side or the other in a
I would
heartbeat.
too, real
You know?
quick.
Don't leave me in the middle. I'll pick a side, any side.
Yeah, Irene, I'd probably not like the avalanches either. Her
Although,
goodbye video was good, Josh. You're right.
yep. Land of fruit and nuts. It's had that reputation for 100 years.
Since I was a kid, which is not quite 100 years, more like 97.
Well, 100 years ago, that was actually a compliment. Now it's not.
Right.
Whose goodbye video are we talking about?
Kay Kittrell's. She had a beautiful home that she'd been in for like 40 some odd years, and she had to sell it. And when she sold it, she had turned her entire yard into a food forest, including the little strip between the sidewalk and the street. On her goodbye video, she showed all the things that she had to do to get the house ready to sell and how she had to just tear up a lot of her food forest and turn it back into yard and stuff like that.
Oh, my.
And she went through, and you got to go through and tour the house, and you saw the yard and all the things you did, and it was heartbreaking. It really was.
Where did she go?
She moved to another place in LA. She had to got an apartment, but she had to ended up having to sell her house, and it was really a sad situation. But life changes, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Go get your cup of Celtic. I keep mine right here. I got
mine
water
right
here and coffee here.
Good
So
coffee today,
I'm
too,
ready.
by the way.
thank you.
We've been out of our regular creamer for a few days. So I got my regular creamer back today, so the coffee is considerably better than it's been the last few days.
Yeah, well. When we're out, we're out. I do the best I can to get it as close as possible.
You do a far better job than I could ever hope for, sweetheart.
Oh,
you really
thank
do.
you. Thank
You
you.
really
Oh,
do.
bunk. Love me and then give me a nod on the head.
and then I give you a face plant. Ah,
Well, I got to admit, I have not had anything to substitute for my creamer, and it's nice to have creamer back. Irene says, "Aw, it's okay. I'll cover up the. There, now you can't see the.
oh my God, there's a flat spot.
Oh, mine's a lump. I got a goose egg under there.
Well, I'll probably jinx this, but the birds have been nice and quiet today.
I know, it's been amazing. But then we've been leaving them in their cages a little more during the day.
Yeah, that's true too. They
I
need to
think
come
they're
out
just getting
today.
used to it.
Well, they need to get out today. I need to hang some more toys in there too.
I should try the mobile delivery for grocery shopping. Actually, Joshua, I like grocery shopping and I don't want to give it up. I'll wear rubber gloves and a face mask and take everything into the garage and spray it down with alcohol. I'm not going to give up my grocery shopping. Not till I absolutely have to.
We did try.
Coffee hot, black, and preferably wet.
We did try the pickup. You know, a couple of times we called our order into Walmart and then went and picked it up, but you just can't get it right. You know, I mean, you can be very specific about what you want, and they didn't fill the bill very well for us. So
No. And I'm real
now,
picky
Tim
about
Strong,
things.
yeah, I'm a. You got to remember, I spent a
too.
long time in Spain. I love espresso. For a long time, many years, what I used to do for my morning coffee. This was back whenever I was using a regular
A drip
coffee
coffee
maker,
maker.
drip coffee maker. I also had an espresso machine. So what I would do each morning is I'd make a double cup of espresso and a pot of coffee, and I had a mug that literally held about, probably 40 ounces, maybe even more. It was a big honking mug,
I used to have a 46 ounce.
at least a quarter more. And I would mix the two together. So I was getting the espresso and the regular pretty strong coffee mix that I just made generically. And I did that for a lot of years, and that was good.
Me too, Irene. I'm glad everybody has to wear a mask now.
I'm all in favor of wearing masks, but I don't know how effective they are. I can't. I've seen a lot of information on both sides of that question as to whether or not there's a benefit from it. But I'll figure, okay, I'll wear a mask not to more or less protect myself, but to protect you from me. And although
Do I
I
need protection?
well, actually, I'm the one that needs it. I mean, I haven't been out of this house other than
To go to the
absolute
doctor
essentials to going to doctors in months.
since March.
Well, don't forget, I went last week, but that was the
Yeah.
first time I've went to a new pain doctor.
Celtic uses a large,
Large coffee,
with
2 shots of espresso. Yep, heard that. That's about right. We got a lot in common there, partner. That's exactly what I used to do. It was a double shot of espresso and a full pot of really strong coffee in my coffee maker.
Now we use really strong coffee in a French press.
Oh my God. Yeah, my dad used the old percolator. I mean, the one with the little bubble on top. And even as a very young child, he would give me a saucer full of coffee. And I would sit there and sip my coffee with him at the kitchen table. So I've been drinking coffee since I was just a tot.
When I was 2, we lived in the same little town as my grandparents. And my grandfather and I were best buds. And every Saturday morning, he would come over and get me, and we would go to the local coffee shop. And he would have his breakfast of bacon and eggs and coffee. And I would get my bacon and eggs. And at that time, creamer was sold in a little glass container that held just slightly over an ounce. And he'd pour most of the cream into his coffee and stir it up and then fill that little thing, which was about 3/4 milk and 1/4 coffee. And that was my cup of coffee to drink. So I've been drinking coffee since I was 2, if you want to call that coffee.
Yep. Yeah, I agree that there are benefits to the masks. I'm not going to deny that. I fully agree that they're an integral part of our efforts to contain this virus.
I do too, Celtic.
It's all kind of it's a cumulative thing. If we were smart enough to isolate, smart enough to wear masks, smart enough not to, overtly go out and just either contaminate or get contaminated. The thing is, we got to remember this. In a pandemic, sooner or later, everyone is going to be exposed.
Yep.
That is, by definition, what a pandemic is. An epidemic means a lot of people. Pandemic means everybody.
Everybody.
So sooner or later, it may take years, but sooner or later, there will not be one corner of this globe that is not touched by COVID-19 in some fashion or another. Now, whether or not it weakens to the point where it is literally untraceable, or if it mutates to the point where it's even more deadly than it already is, remains to be seen. But it will infect the entire world before we're done. And thank you for your time and attention.
320, I agree. Regular cloth masks don't do much. I have wondered about the new cloth masks that people are making now that have 2 layers of cloth and a coffee filter paper layer between them. I've wondered if those are any more help. I have no idea.
I think the N95 masks are about the minimum
I have an N95.
that
as
are
well.
acceptable to me, really.
All 3 of ours are N95s. So I knew all 3 of ours also have removable filters too, so you can take those out, put new ones in.
Tim got to hold his brand new grandson.
Oh, congratulations, Tim.
Congratulations,
That's wonderful.
That's great news. That's
That is
wonderful.
super news.
That's wonderful.
When was he born? That's cool.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
Just stains.
the boogers.
Just strains out the boogers.
Well, thank you for that image. Some things you just cannot unsee. That wasn't good. Yep. Now, see, since I have COPD, I obviously am high risk, which is the main reason that I am very, very careful and don't want to have anybody around and don't go out any more than I absolutely have to. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's a good test, Josh. Thanks. That's good, not a bad idea. I think it'd be kind of tough. That I think most masks would probably pass that test.
What I've been amazing about is even through the N95 mask, there are some fragrances, particularly of candles, that you can smell, even through the mask. I'm going to turn this over so I'm not picking up so much of the screen. But
Okay.
I thought you weren't supposed to be able to smell through them, but apparently that's not right.
Well, those little molecules are very tiny. Now, are they, smaller than virus particles? I don't know.
I don't know either. July the 24th. So he's just a tiny
bitty
little
bitty
guy.
one, huh?
That's wonderful.
Good for you, Tim. That's great. How many grandchildren does that make for you? I think it's more than one, right? Or is this your only? Ah.
I don't know if I told y'all. I don't think it happened It happened after the live show last week
What's that?
that I fell.
Oh, yeah. No, that was just some days ago. Yeah.
Okay. I
Kate
fell
took a header.
last Tuesday. I was carrying a case of canning jars that I bought at the store, and I was bringing them into the house. And I have no idea what I tripped on. I don't have any idea why it happened, but I went face down in the driveway. And fortunately for me, I threw the case of canning jars away from me.
Thank God.
They shattered. So if I had gone down, I would have gone down in the middle of all of that. But the capsule has landed. Thank you, Letha.
Thank you. And amen. God, thank you for that blessing.
But anyway, when I went down, I didn't hurt my head, but I landed on my right hip and my right knee. And I had a scratched up knee like a little kid that falls down or falls off their bicycle, and sore shoulder and a lump on my hip that's still there.
She skinned up
Nothing
her,
broken, but boy, is it
skinned
sore.
up her knee pretty good.
Yeah.
She still thinks she's made out of elastic. But Kate does have a history of kind of falling, but oh my God, it's one of my great fears is for her to fall and really get hurt bad.
My mom also falls
11
a lot.
grandkids, huh, Tim? Is that what you're saying? 11 grandkids? Wow.
We have 2 between us.
Yeah. No, you have 2.
I said between us.
I have 1. Michael.
Oh, right. We have 3 between us. Sorry. I think of Michael as a son, not a grandson. Isn't that weird? Oh, well. Yeah, I did. I fell.
Yeah, she was very lucky, and I was probably a lot more upset than I let on, but I was very, very concerned.
And what was really bad was I sat there on the floor, on the ground, on the cement, looking around to see if anybody had seen me fall. I wasn't worried about what might be broken. I just wanted to be sure none of my neighbors could see me fall.
You're right, Jason. For people our age, falling like that is very stressful. You get pretty paranoid about it as you get older.
Jason likes it after I was worried.
Yeah.
Then once I realized no one was out and couldn't see me because I fell down in front of my pickup truck, then I sat there and went through, feet, legs, arms. Everything was okay. Then I started to stand up. That was a mistake.
Hi, legs.
Because when I stood up was when I realized that my hip hurt, my knee was scratched up, my hand was scratched up, my shoulder. It was just a mess. So I limped into the house and got a broom and went back out and got all the glass swept up.
Iron, when you say that you wrecked your kneecap, did it break it or crack it? And I see you said you cracked your shoulder blade. Was that?
busted a baby.
And ribs
My
and
goodness,
busted her
Irene.
baby toe. Wow, you've not had a very good time the last couple of months. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. You really do ask yourself if everything's going to heal right, because our healing processes don't kick in, especially for bones.
Well, they change.
Yeah.
My bones are weaker than they used to because I had chemo.
Yep.
So
Do you take calcium, by the way?
not anymore. The doctor told me not to.
Oh, that's right.
I was taking it for a while, but my body does not process calcium the way most people's do. And when I get too much in my system, it deposits it as little white balls underneath my skin, right in around my eyes. So
Well, Celtic, I have on my right side, I have an artificial hip, and my right knee, I've been told by at least half a dozen orthopedic surgeons that it needs to be replaced. It's probably half again the size of my left knee, just generically speaking, it's always swollen. If I do any walking at all, it gets weak
Right,
real
Tim.
fast, and it does cause quite a bit of discomfort. But they've always said, I ask, when should I get surgery? And they say when you can't take the pain anymore, and I haven't hit that point. So I've not had my knee replaced, and I think at my age, unless it just really becomes an issue, I'm not gonna. But didn't get the knee looked at, but it is better now. Oh,
make your own vitamin D.
did you get seen by a doctor?
That's Irene.
Yeah, Irene, for that for the shoulder and ribs. There's not much they can do for either one, but at least you might have gotten some X-rays to see how bad it was.
I'm very lucky that when I was in high school and before that, I took a lot of tumbling. And so when I fall, a lot of that is muscle memory and it still kicks in.
Yeah, to roll and tuck and roll, yeah.
And I suspect that had I not had that, many of the falls I've taken in my life would have done a lot worse for me than they did.
Yeah, and Diamond Willow, you're exactly right.
And people laugh, you're not old.
If people do laugh whenever you fall down, you're young.
I hadn't heard that, Susanna.
Yeah,
That's
if
good.
they gasp and come rushing to help, then yeah, you're officially old.
I don't know. The last time that happened, I was
good. I'm glad you
23
got
or
X-rays.
24, and somebody came rushing to help me up.
Well, it also depends on the severity of the fall.
And it also, I was a young, shapely young woman, and I fell, and a good-looking young man came to help me
Well,
up.
there's
so-
that too. Yeah, there's that too.
You're
Yeah.
right, Tim.
Tim, yeah, I've
What it means is you've been racing too much again.
yep.
Mr. Speedy Gonzalez there. Oh, Irene did get X-rays. That's good.
Yeah, God's got the X-rays.
Yeah.
Way to go, Irene. That's not the kind of stuff we can afford to ignore anymore. Oh man. So what's everybody doing the rest of the day? I'm curious. What kind of plans do y'all have? Are we going to have something special for supper tonight? You haven't thought about it yet.
I haven't thought
Oh,
about
okay,
it.
never mind.
I've got.
I've fallen and can't reach my beer.
I have a chicken.
That ought to be a commercial. Oh yeah, we do. We have chicken, don't we? That ought to be a commercial. Have some old guy with a
Bud Light.
Grateful Dead T-shirt on, and ZZ Top beard, laying on the floor talking to his life alert. I've fallen down and I can't get to my Jim Beam.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
as
three
fast as that
cheese
chair
lasagna.
goes, you
That sounds
might.
good, Jason. I do love lasagna. I do love good lasagna. Yeah, well, as fast as that chair probably goes, Tim, I think that's a valid concern. You've got that one tweaked too, I imagine, to go a little faster. Yeah, we don't ever want to hear him fall and can't get up. You're right.
And I want to make nothing.
Well, of course, ZZ Top is Texan.
Let me put
Everybody
on
knows
his
that.
T-shirt. Oh, he's got a Grateful Dead T-shirt. Celtic does.
I do. I don't have one. I used to get T-shirts for all the concerts that I went to.
We haven't been to a
And then
concert
years
in forever.
ago, I stacked a bunch of them up and gave them to my son. And all of my best shirts went bye-bye. Shouldn't have done it, but I did.
Yeah, we could have made a blanket for the bed with all those T-shirt
Yep.
fronts.
I should have hung on to them.
Well,
But you know,
hindsight's
I
2020.
mean, my God, the stack was 3-4 feet high.
Yeah, but that would have made a
I had
good
a lot
sized
of-
blanket. You can only use this much of a T-shirt
True,
like that.
but I had a lot of them.
Yeah, but not.
And I have seen ZZ Top
It
in-
just starts
I've
going.
seen ZZ Top in person too, by the way. It's a hell of a show.
Until I met David, I didn't even know who ZZ Top was. But
You're in the wrong.
Ahmad's here. Hi.
You're in the wrong place to be admitting that.
Hey, I'm sorry. I was all into Christian music. I didn't know anything
Yeah,
about any other kind.
ZZ Top's always been a little band from Texas.
Yep, but that didn't matter. I didn't know anything. If it wasn't Christian music, I didn't know about it. So, oh well.
Oh,
I know
hello,
where he is
Ahmad.
now, and that's the important part.
Yeah, they're. I think they're still ticking too. I mean, they're.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A lot of these old groups that were around whenever I was a very
Young
young man,
whippersnapper.
they're still out there churning out the money. To me,
Willie's
that's
still doing it.
well, yeah, but Willie's going to die on stage. I mean, that man is just.
He's
know,
not
he's-
going to die. He's just going to keep playing.
He's addicted to what he does. I mean that if there was ever a guy that is addicted to performing live, it is Willie Nelson. I think that's the only time the guy really feels alive is when he's out in front of people. And the thing is, he's a natural.
Yeah.
It's like he's just sitting down in his living room, but he's up in front of folks.
It's because he's been there so much. It
Yeah,
does feel
yeah.
like his living room.
And I guess after a while, you could also get pretty well hooked on
The
on
adrenaline.
on the roadshow mindset. I mean, it's
Well, the
sooner or
song
later-
says, "The life I love is making music with my friend."
Yep.
So,
and that's been the rules that he's lived by.
mhm.
Yep.
And I pour wine for the family. They're all nervous. I'll spill one, drop of wine. Yeah, some wine aficionados can get very finicky about that sort of thing, Jason. Or Joshua, rather. Sorry.
I'll tell you, somebody I really miss is Stevie Ray Vaughan. That man died way too soon. God, he would have been he was wonderful, but he would have been a living legend by now.
My
I've
one and
never
only,
seen anybody play like he did.
my one and only foster son played guitar,
Yeah.
and he played guitar very much like Stevie Ray. He was an amazing guitarist.
I've
Take care, Lynx.
I've seen Stevie Ray do stuff with a guitar that I've never seen anybody else do. I used to have, well, I've got most of his albums, but I used to have some videos. I think I've lost track of those, but just watching him play was,
Yeah.
Talk about economy of motion. I mean, he barely seemed to move his fingers.
Get your hands clean, Celtic.
Just barely seemed to move his fingers.
Best part of doing dishes is your hands get cleaned while you're doing them.
I used to wonder how in the world does he get that kind of sound out of a guitar. Anyway, all the good ones die too soon.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them do, not all of
Like
them.
flip the guitar and play him behind his back.
Behind his back and kind of upside down and yeah.
Wish I had made it. Me
You and
too,
us
Susanna.
too. We've thought about it. We've talked about it. We're just trying to find somebody that we could really,
That we can
Trust,
trust and is willing to
you
come
know,
out
and-
into the
and-
country.
and would be willing to come out here and kind of deal with the chaos that is us. That's the hard part, getting somebody out here that would invest themselves into being made for us. But we're still hopeful. It'd be nice to do. We could sort of afford it. Maybe if it was
I just want
once
to find a yard
or twice a month. Yeah, yard people we need
yard
too.
people. That's
Yeah.
what I want. You're right, Jason. It is kind of dangerous.
Yep.
But I'd like a yard service to come out because my front yard, looking out the window right there, the front yard in that place, the weeds are over my shoulders. They're probably about a foot taller than I am in some places.
Well, there's a ramp that goes down to the driveway, and I have to be careful going down that ramp because the sunflowers have grown over it.
Yeah.
So I have to watch for wasps and stuff sitting in those sunflowers when I go down.
Yeah.
Need to cut those back if we could sometime, but
Has
oh
to be
well.
done after dark because
Yep.
otherwise the wasps are out there.
By the way, I was reading today about a much more effective deterrent for women if you
You're trying
are
to deter women? Sorry, that's
If
what
you,
it sounded like. Go ahead.
well, rather than mace or pepper spray,
Hmm.
say even more effective is wasp and hornet spray.
Huh.
And it sprays 20 feet or more.
Right.
It's more accurate, and it will blind you until they literally can get to like an ER and get the antidote washed out. So women, if you're out there and you're concerned about your safety,
Carry wasp spray.
I'm not saying carry around a can of wasp spray in your purse, but like this one woman they were talking to apparently worked in some sort of an office, but she had to handle considerable amount of cash and had it more or less like in her desk. So she had a can of wasp spray right there, and she said on 2 occasions she used it and it worked.
Tim,
And
you're
it
a
will,
mobile
it will
ranch
stop
hand.
them. It will stop them. So
I was very fortunate this
yeah,
year.
Tim, you're a whole lot of things on wheels. You're a marvel, big guy. You're a marvel.
I was very fortunate this year. I found a gentleman living in one of the small towns nearby that has a huge garden that he grows everything without any kind of spray or bug deterrent of any kind. Wonderful organic food. And he sold me almost 100 pounds of tomatoes, and he sold me watermelons and cucumbers.
Good tomatoes too. They were delicious.
Just all kinds of food.
Just wonderful.
So my garden. What?
Listen, if we go offline this time, I say we go away because it's after 2, and apparently we're starting to buffer again. So if we lose our connection, I think it's going to be bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, pepper spray is great. It's a shame that
Hello,
that
Patty.
people have to. Apparently, wasp and hornet spray is even more effective.
Well, I'll tell you what, Patty, out of our 100 pounds of tomatoes this year, we ate fresh tomatoes. I cooked with fresh tomatoes, and I also canned over 100 pints. So we've got tomatoes for the rest of the year.
Had one of the best BLTs I've ever had with those fresh tomatoes. They were great.
They were really wonderful.
Oh boy. Well, I guess our connection's going belly up again.
Yeah. Well, we've been on for this one for 48 minutes, the other for 18. So it's over 2 hours, guys. Or over an hour.
So I guess we'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
I kind of hate to do it, but having fun with friends again.
That is.
So
Take care.
take care, y'all. Bye-bye. That's